Fortune smiles here on a Tuesday in December as I got a chance today to connect with somebody who has been on my radar for some time. I mean, he grew up in a bastion of post-bop in Southern California and really gravitated towards that music of improvisation. And I think his manifesto in whatever musical setting it is always playing beyond what he knows and being as vulnerable as possible on the bandstand. Ultimately, that's when magic and music intersect, and the ultimate unquantifiable healing can occur both amongst the musicians and the patrons. Greg Mathieson, welcome to the Jake Feinberg Show.
Thanks, Jake.
You know, did you have an opportunity? I remember talking to Paul Barrere from Little Feat, and he would go, as a teenager, he'd go to I think it was called the It Club, or there were some jazz clubs. He'd peek through the hole, and Ahmad Jamal would be playing in there, Dexter Gordon. I'm curious about your exposure to the black jazzers, of that time, and the early mid '60s when you started to, perk your ears up and get into music.
Oh, okay. Well, before you get there, you have to understand that I was born into my father was a bebop trombone player.
Wow.
And my earliest memory was sitting in front of a mono speaker built by my father from Heathkit. And listening to Charlie Parker and Monk and Dizzy Gillespie.
Wow.
I still can see that memory, and I was only 3, So there was this whole, there was nonstop bebop in my house, and there was no rock and roll allowed in my house because my father hated Jimi Hendrix and the other rock and roll because he felt that it took away his jazz, and so everything that I learned was out of there. Although it started to coalesce when I was about 14 or something. I think Ramsey Lewis came out with
the In Crowd.
The In Crowd, right? And I went, oh man, that's great, And then it was Horace Silver,
totally, dude.
Song from My Father.
Huge crossover, yeah.
Dum, 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 dum. I think Steely Dan ripped off that.
For Ricky Don't Lose That Number, they absolutely did, dude.
Right.
They absolutely did. They absolutely did.
Exactly. And then right around that time, too, there was Richard Groove Holmes playing a Hammond B3. I went, what is that? And it was Misty. And his left hand was kicking, man. It was kicking pedals like I still listen to that thing, And that's why I always sign off on Facebook, Groove Hard Greg, because of Richard, But as far as clubs, the It Club kind of sounds familiar, but I had a friend, Tom Morell, whose brother was
so
John
amazing,
Morell.
dude. So amazing. Tommy, is he still with us, by the way?
Who?
Tommy.
I haven't heard from him in a while.
Go ahead, continue. I didn't mean to break that up. Go ahead.
Well, no. I got to see a lot of at Shelley's Manhole, which is not there anymore. We get to go in for free, sneak us in the back door, and I got to see all kinds of people there. I saw Miles Davis. I saw, just tons of people. Larry Young was playing.
Oh my God, dude! Emergency, dude. Larry.
Right.
Oh my God.
And so, I was exposed to a lot of all that stuff. So.
No, this is what I was getting at. It's like, so. That early, like, who would you tip your cap to in terms of the bone players of that time? Obviously the two that come to mind from listening to records when you were younger someone like Curtis Fuller, but then like later, like I have.
No, it was Frank Rosolino.
I was going to say at Shelley's. Did you see Frank? I mean, Frank was the next guy coming out of my mouth.
No, well, Frank Rosolino is just
a legendary cat.
Yeah, and have you ever heard every day it rains, monsters and meatballs?
I gotta hit that.
Find that.
Oh man.
Because he stats. Yeah, he stats the bridge. He goes. They say, "No, what?" He goes, "Scaloo-dooby," and he goes into double time. Real fast, and he ends up at the end in a yodel and laughing.
Oh my God!
It's a great 45. I still have the 45.
This is going back to like Liberty Records when he was like his Dick Hyde with
I don't know. I was not a big fan of looking at what companies.
I dig.
Yeah. So think this. I was raised on Frank Rosolino.
Dude, that is so. I don't know anybody that had a better musical upbringing than Greg Mathieson if you were raised on Frank Rosolino, man.
No, I mean, you just got to give it to the cat.
Forget about it.
So Frank Rosolino was my father's hero. Okay, so I guess sometime when I was around 20, we'll just skip ahead for a second, 21 or something, I get a call from Frank Rosolino. He says, "Can you play Dante's tonight?"
Oh, this is sick. This is sick.
I go, "Frank, I'm not really the bebopper. I can, I don't think I'm up to your caliber, because I was playing rock and roll, other kinds of styles, and he said, "Man, I've called everybody, man. I'm really hung up. Can you show up tonight?" I said, "Okay." And so we get on the bandstand, and he looks back at me and he goes, starry eyes. I forget what the name is. And I go, Frank, man, I don't know that song. And he looks at me and says, "That's a good song. You should know it." That's how the night started.
And then he broke into it?
No, man. The bass player behind me said, "Hey, Frank, he's a kid."
What was it like? Who was that? Like Chuck DeMonico or something? Who was playing bass?
Somebody like that.
Oh my dude, you were marinating in this stuff.
Yeah. So we made it. I knew enough tunes to make it through the night. You know what I mean? And I think he dug the way I played, but that was the end of that.
Dude, that is so legendary. 21. I wonder if like Frank Butler was on drums or something. I mean, these guys were like. I guess I just wanted you to riff on this because I feel like for someone like yourself, anybody from your generation, you really had access to the original or some of the original masters of this music that we know as jazz. And to me, I don't care if it was Cannonball or Frank Butler or Conte Condoli or Hal.
Conte Condoli, right?
Or Hal Blaine. I mean, these guys were playing their life. And their life had a lot of blues in it. So there was a lot of authenticity. And I wanted you to talk about how that helped you find your own individual sound. The reason I say that is because in today's world, younger cats are, learning. I just don't think you can codify the music that we're talking about. And to put it in the academy and learn in the academy, you wind up sounding like your professor. And if that was the case with all the cats that you were under, they would have keeled over and died. So I want you to just talk about that, playing your life and how you learned to channel your life through your music.
Okay, so then you have to think this. I started taking piano lessons at 8. So then at 13, I got in a car accident the first semester of junior high, and I broke an arm. Okay, so I decided, I felt bad for my father because he had to give up his dream of being a trombone player to support me and my mom, right? So I said, okay, I'm going to take up the trumpet, and so we could play duets, and that's what I did. And so what happened was that I got to play all the way through junior high and all the way through high school because I played trumpet, and they needed trumpet in the band. There is no place to play piano, or at least back then.
That's right.
In school, you know what I mean? So,
wow, and even in a big band setting, no piano.
Well, no, yeah, but they didn't have big bands back then, man.
It was like small ensembles or something. Yeah.
We're talking about, but I mean, San Fernando High had, marching band.
Right, Sousa. Right, I did.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I
did.
Yeah.
Every game. I had to go to every game.
It's pretty square, yeah.
Wear that stupid hat. March around the field.
Oh, God.
But it allowed me to have this whole thing. And so my favorite of all time is actually the most influence on me was Miles Davis, because I was playing trumpet. Okay.
Right.
And then Lee Morgan. I really love Lee Morgan, man, because Lee Morgan really had the schoolie dogs. Now, he'd go, just nailed it.
Dude, that guy was so nasty. Oh, the other cat is Blue Mitchell. Unreal cat.
Right, and there was Freddie Hubbard,
Woody Shaw. No, I mean, it was insane. It was insane. But I want to be clear. You were playing one-hand trumpet when you broke your arm?
Yeah.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah, so that's kind of where my influence. Well, my father. Okay, so I'm playing trumpet now, taking trumpet lessons, and so there's a piano sitting there, and so I start getting some big books, and I'm just kind of picking out notes and stuff and trying to figure out chords on my own, right? And so my father, to his blessing, found he was a big Stan Kenton orchestra guy, right?
Right.
And so he found out that one of the arrangers for Stan Kenton was teaching trumpet like about 2 miles from my house. So he marched me down there, and I already had a trumpet lesson guy, right? And so he went up to Kent Hanna and says, "I want you to teach him harmony." And and Kent Hanna, that was his name,
right?
The orchestrator. He said, "No, man, I teach trumpet." He said, "No, I want you to teach him harmony." So at 15, I started learning harmony.
Wow.
Like jazz harmony.
Wow. Wow.
And so that just gave me a big boost because, by the time I graduated high school, I could teach the harmony class, and then to put the nail in the coffin, I had always been the best musician in junior high and in high school. Okay, so I need to go to
go where you want to go. Go where you want to go. Yeah.
Okay, so my grades were good enough to go to UCLA, but I checked out UCLA and it was nothing but classical music back then. We're talking about I graduated in '68. And there was no contemporary classes. And then I found out that the best big band in school was at Valley College.
I love this. This is warming my heart. Warming my heart. Yep. Yep.
And they had the Bob Florence big band charts, all his charts, and nobody else even came close. We won state champion twice, but before I get to that, back right now, you start school in June and you graduate that kind of year.
Right.
I was the last class that was half year, so I graduated high school in February.
Wow.
And so I'm going. I'm full of piss and vinegar because I had been the best cat in school.
You're fired up, yeah.
Yeah, it's the big fish in the small pond or whatever. Small pond. So I go to the tryouts for the A band, right? And there are 18 trumpet players that are better than me. They're screamers. I could play a better solo. So I didn't make the A band. First time in my life, man. And I went, oh man, guess I'm gonna have to teach or do something. I'm not gonna be a musician. This is really a drag. So I go through that first semester kind of like with my, tail between my legs. And then I think, I'm going to go to summer school because nobody goes to summer school, and I'm going to take the A band, right? And so I show up to the tryouts again, and those same 18 trumpet players are there, and I go, oh,
I can't dodge these cats.
Yeah, and I'm going, man, that's it. That's the nail in the coffin, man. I'm going to be a teacher.
I'm out. Yeah.
That's going to be it, right? And so the piano player didn't show up. And so Dr. Carlson says, well, can anybody play piano? And I go, yeah, I can play piano. So I went down there because this is after all the bebop lessons I got from Ken Hannon, I read the chart, took a great solo, and he turned to me and he says, not only are you the piano player in the A band now, but for as long as you go to school, you're the piano player. So I put my trumpet aside and never picked it up again.
That is a remarkable.
So now,
I want to be clear though. I just going back to because we can get lost in these, go down these rabbit holes. Learning harmony from Hannah helped you develop your individual voice. Do you believe?
He did some interesting things. Like let's take the song Misty.
Yeah.
Okay? He would say, "Okay, I want you to take the chord changes to Misty, but write a whole new melody." Okay?
Right.
And I have to come up and play it for him the very next week. 7 days later. And so I did, and so I would do that. He said, "Okay, now I want you to take the melody of Misty and write a whole separate chord changes for it."
Wow.
Which is really what jazz is all about. Or improvisation. You have a form. And then you have the structure of chords. And then you improvise over the top, okay? So that's when it started to click in my head. Oh, wow, okay. That's what jazz is, except that it's not writing it down. You know what I mean? Just
absolutely. No, would you say that he was? I remember a buddy of mine at New England Conservatory. And this is more from a rhythmic point of view, but the piano is a percussive instrument. I mean,
yeah.
His teacher, Rockalon Bob Moses, the great drummer, would say, he'd give him Dear Old Stockholm, Coltrane,
right.
with I think Roy Haynes plays drums on that, and he'd be like, go home and contour this song. I mean, don't do it note for note, but contour it, and I just feel like. You're most importantly your ears, which were already huge because you were listening to all that bebop growing up. Your ears must have just been huge, like elephant ears after that.
Well, yeah, and what I didn't realize at the time was, and if you listen to all my playing from top to bottom, the most important thing, the thing that everybody's given, if you're religious or what,
right?
You're born with a certain amount of talent.
Absolutely, genius, yeah.
Right, but mine wasn't like a lot of chops, and it wasn't like this big. I could read anything, that was put in front of me.
Right, you weren't like reading flypaper, like that kind of stuff, yeah.
Right. What I was born with was a gift of time. My time is almost perfect.
That's awesome.
I can play to a click for days, not that I want to, but I can. and what I figured out was that, you can play behind a beat and you can play on top of it. Okay, so when you play Latin music, like Chick Corea, when he plays Spain, he's way on top of the beat,
Totally.
when you listen to Richard, when you listen to like the Sidewinder with
Lee Morgan.
Yeah, he puts it on the back side and it sounds so funky. It's that like you're almost out of time. You're laying way back, and so that's the key. That's the gift that God gave me,
That is absolutely.
I had to practice everything else. I had to learn everything else,
Well, I want to read you this. This is going to bring back some memories, but I just want you to riff because I deeply feel the spirit of this family in our interview. I wanted to read this from my interview with John Morell, and then you can riff on it. He said, "My father was a guitar player, and he couldn't find any work in Niagara Falls. He had a very good friend, Tommy Tedesco, who got him a job in Vegas and got him to move to L.A. When I was young, my father was very active in the business, but he still had this very basic love of jazz music. I know that every night I used to come home and we used to sit and we used to play tunes. He'd comp for me, I'd comp for him. I'd play a solo and then he'd play a solo. I learned how to construct solos and keep time for him. It gave me a sense of how to play and how not to play. Rather than just being in a room all by yourself, you're playing with somebody. So where did Tom talk about did you know, I think, what was John's father's name? I forget his first name.
I forget his name, but yes, I met him a number of times.
Can you just talk about did you, after you got the piano gig at Valley College, is that when you met Tom?
It must have been, it was after Steve Bohannon died.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you have to realize I got my parents to co-sign for me to go buy a real Hammond B3.
Oh, this is sick.
With a less.
Did they lease you a Hearst as well to put it in?
Yeah, right. So I bought it in 1969 because I know that for a fact. Anyway, I was going to go to another story. I shouldn't.
Dude, we're going to be. This is only set one. We're not going to get through everything. Don't worry about it.
Right. So, do you remember when Steve Bohannon died?
It was around Shelly Manne. They did this very rare album called Outside, and he dedicated a tune to Bohannon. I think that album came out in 70, so 69, 70 in that range.
Right. So because I was now John's father was still alive.
Yeah.
And so was and I was playing with Tom Morell, jamming, songs. He would be coming over to my house and we'd be playing, So John Morell found out that I could play B3, and he asked me if I would come over and jam with the cats.
Oh my God, dude!
And so I think it was John Guerin and me, and I forget who played bass, but it was one of those famous cats.
Wait a minute. Wait. We're talking like
1970, right?
It wasn't. I mean, dude, I cannot believe. Hold on, Tom was younger than John. Is that right?
Right.
So Tom, yeah, and Tom was Tom. So you and Tom would jam, and then Johnny got.
We were buddies. We were friends, and John was about 3 years older than me, I think. And so we were like the up and coming cats right behind John Morell,
This is so. I bet it was like Chuck Berghofer or something. I wonder who played bass.
Something.
Yeah.
I can't.
I know. Yeah, it's all. Yeah.
I was so scared.
You're just like, help me make it through the night,
Right. So I moved. I can remember the house because Tom and John were still there living together.
Oh my God.
And it was real close to my house in Mission Hills. And so I moved my B3 in, and they kind of tuned, 1, 2, 1, 2.
So hyper quick, dude. Oh
and it's all instrumental. I mean, polytonal chords, which I had no idea how to play. I mean, I could calm. I understood the harmony of it, but it's not like it was a higher end of jazz than I was used to. So real quick on the spot, I had to like fake my way through this thing, and I said, well, thanks a lot, guys, and I thought, I walked out and I thought, man, these guys are never going to call me back. That was the worst thing I could have ever done. And so they kept calling me back. and that's when I realized that the best place you can be in a band is be the worst player, because you have to play up to their level.
The other way of saying that is to always play with people that are better than you, but it's very encouraging.
Exactly.
It's just very encouraging when those better than you cats are calling you back.
Mm-hmm.
Because they feel that. Was there a way, the polytonal stuff, at that time, 70, 71, who would you compare, how would you compare that? Well, who was doing that within the medium of jazz?
Well, you have to realize that, Miles started doing it with In a Silent Way.
Okay.
What was the other one? If I had his roster in front of me.
Kind of Blue, or
no? Kind of Blue is all straight ahead, and
yeah.
So
like Nefertiti or something.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Nefertiti was polytonal chords.
Polytonal.
Well, it just means like taking a D chord, but it's got C in the bass. And the root is you're actually in C, but there's a D chord on top.
I dig.
It's like, do I play in D or do I play in C?
Right.
You know what I mean? Which notes do I use? And a 7 or a major 7, or and the lesson out of all of that is it can be anything you want. It's whatever you hear.
Please tell me that after you got your chops up, that small band with the Morell brothers maybe turned into a little gig for you guys.
Well, no, actually, we never played live.
Wow.
And I did a lot. Back then, going to college, I started playing. To keep money flowing. Every wedding needed a band. Every party needed a band.
Bar mitzvahs, everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I would work Friday night, and then a wedding reception or something on a Saturday, and then a Saturday night party, and then another wedding, reception on Sunday. You know what I mean? And I did a lot of that with Tom Morell.
That is so beautiful, man.
Yeah, and well, when things got weird around the 80s or something,
real weird.
With music, and,
yeah.
At the end of the 80s and into the 90s, there was no place to play, because we had been supplanted by DJs,
right.
Which was okay for me. But I was thinking about my son, where's he going to go play? You know what I mean? There's no place to actually get that live experience, and I was really worried about that. And then when I got on Facebook and I started seeing guys playing in a room by themselves, just like you said,
right.
I realized that they were at least learning it in school, which I didn't get. I had to go through the school of hard knocks,
But that to me is like, it's called the bandstand, or I really want to document this for the record. I've been meaning to ask you about this, but now we get it. We can document it. I picked up this record several times, and I am just floored that you were a part of it. I don't necessarily remember seeing your name on the record. I don't necessarily know if they put the company as credits on it, but I need you to tell me this story. It's almost like a plantation-looking black woman leaning down and picking up all these small little people in the Earthquire.
Right.
It is one of the most sophisticated, it's like a soul album. It's insane. And how did that come to be?
I'm gonna have to look that up, man.
1972, Earthquire. That was your first.
Oh, Earthquire.
Yeah,
Right.
that was your first. Was that your first time in the studio?
No. Okay. Well, you and I are friends with a guy named Danny Krieger.
My hero.
Right. And there's an interesting thing with. Before I answer that question,
go ahead. Yeah.
When so I guess I met Danny in 1969 too. Also,
Do you remember how you met him at all? Or he wasn't playing obviously with the Jazzers?
Yeah, there was a saxophone player. I forget his name. That was in the jazz band.
Right.
In the school band at LAVC. And I remember this guy named Bob Crosby.
Oh my God.
I know, which is a weird name.
I love it.
Asked me to if I wanted to go play, in a garage band, right? And the thing for me, my motto was, let me play. I'll play anything. I'll play R&B. I'll play rock and roll. I'll play whatever. Just make me feel good.
Sure.
And so that band was called Hanley. Okay.
HYMN. HYMN.
HANLEY, I think.
Wow.
And okay, so the deal that I made with Danny Krieger was because he was playing all these real old blues guys, so I would teach him about jazz and take him to places. He would teach me about rock, or basically the blues.
Right.
And because like the first couple times I played with that band, I was playing too many 2-5-1s. They were playing the 1 chord, the 5 chord, and the 4 chord. That's it.
This is so classic,
what I mean? So I had to learn how to play on 3 chords with triads. So and that was a great experience. He took me to see Shuggy Otis with Johnny Otis, the hand job.
Absolutely, dude. His dad, yep, Johnny Otis show, yep, absolutely.
Right. So I would take him. I took him to go see Herbie Hancock
at the manhole. Where at the manhole?
The Lighthouse.
Oh my God!
And that was when Benny Moffat was playing. It was that.
Oh my God! The M1D sheet. The M1D sheet.
Yeah.
The M1D band with Eddie Henderson and Buster Williams and those cats.
Right, you're right.
Oh, I cannot believe you and Krieger were in the that music is so mind blowing.
Okay, so dig this.
Oh my God!
The morning of that day, we had that big earthquake.
The San Fernando Valley earthquake. Yeah.
In Sylmar, right?
71. Yeah, absolutely.
So that day, that night, we were still having like tremors, right? And so I dragged Danny and a couple of the other guys who were not boppers or hadn't heard jazz, And I dragged them to the Lighthouse, and the band was on fire.
Fire.
And it was like it was the last night they were going to ever play again, right?
Right.
Because they had just gone through this earthquake, and you knew it was happening because there was a point in the tune where they were burning and everybody stopped. Right. And they all looked at each other like, "What just happened?" It was by accident or by a fluke, And then they all came back in together and they were just cracking up, laughing, having a great time, and so. That changed.
Yeah, I got to be honest. That's one of the best stories. You know what's so crazy, man, is like I've interviewed Buster, I've interviewed Eddie, I've interviewed Billy Hart, I've interviewed Julian Priester, and to a man, Benny Mappin won't talk to me. He's a little bit odd. Herbie's still in the wings. But to a man, they were at that time in particular, they were all reading the same spiritual texts like Siddhartha, this kind of stuff. They were so telepathic. They talked about a gig at the London House in Chicago. You can imagine them opening with a 10-minute percussion into 18 minutes of just ethereal music. people are there trying to eat a steak dinner, you know?
Right.
And yet they were in an ashram on the bandstand together. It was unbelievable. And for you to actually have seen that in person must have been a revelation.
Well, great. So I'm going to comment on what you just said.
Yeah.
So keep that in your pocket.
Yeah.
Okay? So the singer in Hanley was Mike Gorfing. And I don't know if you know who Mike Gorfing is.
No, I need to get to that. Who is that cat?
Okay, Mike Gorfing is part of Gorfing Schwartz. They're a huge management company,
Wow.
but they manage a lot of the big time movie people, like orchestrators, like John Williams.
Sure.
I mean, we're talking about
The heaviest cats, yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about Star Wars and Indiana Jones and stuff like that. You know,
Forget about it.
So that he was the singer in there. You know, he was, I think he's a year younger than me. So I think he was about 19 or something. That was in that band, okay?
Wow.
So for some reason, I can't remember why that band broke up. My best friend then at that time was Jay Graydon. And he said, they're having, I can't remember the name of the band now. Who's the albino rock and roll?
Johnny and Edgar Winter?
He played alto and piano.
Yeah, Edgar Winter.
Edgar Winter. Oh, the band was White Trash.
White Trash. Oh my God, sick. Yeah.
He had quit at White Trash, and also I think it was Rick Derringer was playing guitar.
You're absolutely
He
absolutely.
quit, and so White Trash was having auditions. So I went down there and I got the gig. And actually, my best friend Jay didn't, but that didn't really matter. So anyway, so all of a sudden, there's like cases of beer. I mean, we're talking like serious rock and rollers.
Oh my, like hardcore white. I mean, the whitest
right.
of white. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, and so I'm doing it, and they're going to cut an album, and which I do. There's a great story behind that, but I'll come back to it.
No, because I'm seeing here is Jerry LaCroix album.
That was the album. It was going to be White Trash.
Dude, you're on that's one of my favorite albums in the world. This Jerry LaCroix album.
Well,
the one with the lion on it, I think. Go ahead.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you want to hear a little side?
Oh yeah, but I need it. Yeah, go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I had quit, and they said, "Well, you know what? Come on by and play on a couple tracks. We still need your part here and there,
Right.
And so I said, "Okay." There was no money in it. It was, I was just, doing it. I was doing it to spread my wings.
Dude, come on, you're building your resume,
Right. And so the session was at Bowling Sound on La Brea. But it was on the other side of La Brea. There's a bunch of oil wells and stuff like that. And
what was the name of the studio?
Huh?
What was the name of the studio?
Bowling Sound.
How do you spell that?
I think it was Bolic.
Bolic. Wow.
Yeah, Bolic. Okay, so it was Ike Turner's studio.
Oh yeah.
Like of Ike and Tina Turner.
Sure.
Right? Okay. So I'm, we're on a break and stuff. I'm in a bathroom, and all the lights go out.
Oh no.
I mean, just completely dark, right? and so I kind of, feel my way around, clean myself up, get it together. I remember where the door is, so I go out to the door. I know I have to make a left. And as I step out, there's this guy with a flashlight and a machine gun.
No way, dude.
He says, "Stop, man." And I go, "Hey, man, I'm a piano player." Right. And he comes up and flashes the light in my face, and it's Ike Turner.
Oh my God!
And he's convinced that it's not a blackout, but it's a raid. He tells me that the police are going to come in busting through the front door.
He's got an FBI raid going on. Yeah.
Right. Because God knows what he was doing on the side. Right?
Dude, he was so paranoid at that point. Holy cow.
So it turns out they lived. Ike and Tina lived on the second story. So anyway, I'm freaked out. This guy's got a gun. So I said, look, I'm going to go back to the Studio A. So I walk down this hallway. It's completely black,
Jesus.
And I know where the door is. To the left is inside the studio. But if I go straight, I'm going to be on La Brea Boulevard, right? So I go, man, I got to get out of this building because God knows what's going to happen.
Wait, had everybody left? It was all black?
No, they were all still in the studio.
And you just were like, I got to get out.
No, so I just said, well, I knew it was going to be a break at least or something,
Right.
So, there's no power, so nothing's getting
exactly,
out.
Right.
So I walk out onto La Brea Boulevard, and I'm standing there for a couple seconds, and I'm looking around, and it's a blackout. There's no police coming. The electricity is not up, going down the street or going up the street. Everything, there's no red lights, no green lights, And after about 2 or 3 minutes, this real pretty woman came out, and she was kind of like in sweatpants and, like something you would lounge in.
Sure.
Watch TV, right? Ended up being Tina Turner.
Oh, my.
So I got to hang out with Tina Turner for about 45 minutes.
This is unbelievable. This is outrageous.
Right. I know. It's one of those things.
Oh, my God. This is great.
Okay. So
that is so
the album gets finished. They already know I'm going to quit. And one of the reasons why I was going to quit was because Earthquire wanted me to be in the band, and Mike Orphane was singing in that band. Okay, and so and Earthquire had 4 singers. It had Mike Orphane. It had Tata Vega.
Dude, I'm telling you, man. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, the third, Carmen. I forget Carmen's last name, but she sang the lead to The Lion King later on in her life.
Wow.
She was a really great singer too. And I forget who the 4th singer was. And so there was no guitar in the band. So it was 2 saxophones, piano, organ, bass, and drums. And I played a Rhodes too, and 4 singers. And it was called Earthquire. And that's the band that you were referencing.
Obsessed with, dude, that record, I still, to this day, the 4 octave range or whatever, it's like, I still have a hard time getting my ear around it. I mean, it's very sophisticated and almost, it's not jazz, but I want to be clear. You never toured with White Trash, did you?
Right. No, well, that was one of the reasons why I quit.
Right.
Because I thought, if I go out with this band, it's going to be, like throw the TV out.
Dude, you would be a carcass on the side of the road after a few weeks.
Right,
yeah.
and sadly, Bobby Ramirez, I think, is...
Yo, man, you're touching the heartstrings right now, dude.
Right, he died on that tour.
Are you kidding me?
No, that was the tour that he died.
He was a monstrous drummer.
Yeah, no, he was great.
So you saw the handwriting on the... You didn't want to be roadkill, and you got into Earthquire.
Yeah, within the first month, they played some club, and he got into with some guy, and the guy took out a knife and stabbed him to death.
Yeah, because Rick Marotta told me that at a certain point, they were at the Nassau Coliseum. This was maybe a little bit before your experience recording with them, but he had busted like this tendon in his thumb, and he had this huge cast on his hand, and they're playing Nassau Coliseum, just pounding and shredding and banging and just doing all the things White Trash does. And Marotta's filling in for him because he's, Bobby's on the DL, and then for the I guess it was maybe the encore towards the end. Bobby's like, "Let me play, man. Let me play." He takes the sticks. He goes out. Rick said he played when he got off the bandstand. His whole hand, he had whatever surgery had been done. He had broken off. The tendon had blown open. There was blood everywhere, and he was just smiling. He was as happy as a clam.
Well, no, I mean, he was the loudest drummer I ever heard.
Ever.
I mean, the backbeat on the snare drum was just, and it was in the pocket too. And
right.
And, he used to have this permanent, like, kind of like a blood,
like a towel or something.
Not a scab, but like, a blister.
Oh my, yeah, that's right. The blister. It was the blister that broke over. That's what it was. Yeah.
Right. And every rehearsal would break open. There'd be blood.
My God, dude, you knew this. Holy cow. Yeah, see, you were right. You're like, this is not the perfect fit for Mathieson at this point.
No.
Yeah.
But it did give me the New Orleans vibe.
Really?
Yeah, because they were big. Their rock and roll had that.
Well, Edgar was, yeah.
That Nolans thing.
No, that Gulf Coast, definitely. Yeah, absolutely.
It was John Smith on saxophone, and man, he was the loudest tenor player I ever heard in my life. And he had that real raspy rock and roll, and there was Twilly, I forget his last name, and another guy named Carmen that were all horn players. And I learned, I mean, I didn't know it at the time, but I learned the rock and roll New Orleans feel by playing with them. You know what I mean?
You played? Did you actually play live? Did you play some?
Yeah, we played the Whiskey about 10 times.
Holy cow!
Yeah.
Wow.
I had a Fender Rhodes, and I had a Marshall amp on 10 behind me, and I couldn't hear myself.
Yeah, I was waiting. I'm not surprised at all. Actually, yeah. I'm surprised. I guess.
So anyway, I got that offer, for Earthquire, and the fact that there was no guitar, I was the only chordal instrument in it. It was way more musical challenge for me, to do that, because I had to cover all the chords.
Absolutely.
No guitar.
Absolutely.
Right, and so it was, guitar, 2 tenor saxophones, and no guitar, me on piano. I forget the rest of the cat's names, but the 4 singers, and that's that album.
Do you remember? I'm curious because it was so. It was still in the early '70s, and obviously outside of like Sly Stone and a couple other people that had really antiquated drum machines. Everybody, by and large, was hitting at the same time. Was there minimal overdubbing on that Earthquire record, or was it really broken up a lot?
Oh no, there was no overdubbing.
It was one take. Everybody hit the same.
I didn't produce it, so I don't know how many. If they did multiple passes of vocals. So
the vocals were overdubbed.
Yeah. So it was piano, bass, and drums for the whole album.
Wow.
And we cut the tracks like that. There was no overdubbing. I think maybe I might have put a B3 part on, or I think I remember putting a Celeste on it.
Dude, I have like 2 copies of that record, and only prepping for this interview, I was like, Mathieson was on that record. I
was.
Oh
yeah.
my God! So
and that was like I said, that was such a great experience because at that time, there were guitar trios, but there weren't any piano trios. Playing more on the rock side.
Absolutely not. I mean, I can't really see you guys having a bud. Did you guys get a chance to tour that album, or was it not marketed well?
No, what happened was that. We did some gigs, but not out of L.A.
Yeah, right.
And we signed with
like Mo West or something, or
yeah, right. It was right, and it was they all they really wanted was Tata.
That's right.
So that band broke up because they they wanted Tata to sing everything. They wanted Tata, it wasn't a group effort anymore.
Totally.
And so that band went by the wayside, and I went on to do other things.
Well, no, I'm curious about at that time. The legendary Rosolino story, probably the highlight of this set one with you. You played Dante's. There was like,
right.
I mean, where were you getting your? How were you able to get stuff out of your system on the bandstand? Were there clubs like that in the early '70s? That was like, I mean,
well, it was either the Roxy or the Whiskey, or there was another club across the street called the Sea Witch.
Oh my dude, Larry Taylor from Canned Heat used to show up there. He would show up there with a broomstick and pretend to play bass. That's unbelievable. Right. The Sea Witch.
Right.
Did you ever play with like Paul Lagos or any of those crazy MFers like freaking?
No.
Okay.
No.
So who like out like were you playing at those places or were you just going jam there or like was Earthquire?
No. The band was booked for those places.
Wow.
I just showed up and played.
Wow.
But there's something I left out.
Please.
In high school, I joined. I had joined a band. Let's say the band that played all the parts, right? And we played nothing but James Brown.
Vamping all the way. Yeah.
Right, and so at my final year at San Fernando High, we were playing with that band. We were playing Sea Witch at night.
No way.
Yeah, and I had a fake ID, but I always looked, at age 17, 18, I looked like I was, 21.
Sure,
so
sure.
And then actually, because music saved my life. In high school, it was about 45% Mexican, not Latino. I'm saying it was Mexican. People weren't coming from South America.
I dig.
Right, it was Mexican, and then the other 45% was black, and then 10% was white, and those are the guys that got beat up all the time.
This was in the valley, or this was down in.
This is San Fernando.
Holy cow!
You were high school.
Yeah, they were throwing the white cats into the lockers and shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so I'm actually half Mexican. So back then I had black hair.
Wow.
So I looked more Mexican. So because I was in the band, playing all the dances, everybody knew me. And then there was a bass player who was the head of the black gang there, who played bass, and so I played trumpet.
No way, dude.
Yeah, I played trumpet in a jazz combo, piano, bass, and drums, and trumpet, and we took second place in the Hollywood Bowl Battle of the Bands.
This is mind blowing.
There's a picture of me, and I can show it to you.
Yeah,
it looks really funny.
This was like 66?
Well, I graduated in 68, so it must have been 67.
67. This is...
And we made the Hollywood Bowl,
Well, I wanted to ask you, this is... I wanted to talk to you about this because, you clearly had these jazz leanings and you were steeped in it. But, with Krieger and these other bands, I just wanted to ask you about the... how effective the crossover material was of specifically 67, 68. Keep coming back to Lee Morgan, the Sidewinder.
Right.
The Jazz Crusaders.
Right.
Les McCann and Eddie Harris.
Right.
And Horace Silver.
Harris, of course.
Right.
Eddie Harris.
I just know a lot of bands, even mixed race bands, but guys that were just playing blues, they could break out compared to what, or put it where you want it. Like those crossover rock, blues, jazz tunes were incredibly incentivizing for cats who might have had a more limited vocabulary at that time.
Right, exactly.
I thought,
it worked backwards for me because I had a more extensive.
Exactly. I'm curious about how you worked backwards on that because you're right. Most of the cats that I talked to about that stuff, they're coming from the rock side and they were just happy to be able to sort of pull that shit off.
Right. Well, for me, I had to learn how to play within 3 chords.
Right.
3-chord blues. So that meant that all my bebop licks or any kind of thing like that had went out of my vocabulary when I was playing with them, and that's what back then the jazzers hated the rockers and the rockers hated the jazzers, and I just loved to play piano. I
loved it all, man. Yeah, there was no discrimination.
Right.
Yeah.
So when I went and played with John Morell or that night with Frank and stuff, I played 2-5-1, blues and stuff. When I went back and played the rock gigs, I never played anything out of the triad. And actually, I didn't know it, but that was getting me ready to be a studio musician because I was learning how to play both. We were playing like band tunes, the name of the band.
Oh, you mean like Rick Danko tunes, Robbie Robertson tunes?
No, I'm talking about the band with
with Levon. Dylan and the band. Oh yeah, sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were playing that, up on Whitman Creek, the Weight.
Yeah, no, Robbie Robertson and Levon, those cats. Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So I had to play like that.
Richard Manuel. Yeah, that's very interesting. That is. But like that less is more kind of thing is invaluable.
Right. Exactly. See, okay, so now you think about it. Okay, I was playing those kind of tunes, right? And I'd have to tone. And I was playing with John Morell, so I was going.
It's so sick.
I was going so far out.
Oh my God, way out, dude.
What that was, then I'd play so tucked back in. Learn how to play that. And, I had my own tunes, and I didn't realize at the time, but that was setting me up for being a studio musician.
Just in the sense that, because in the studio, ultimately, it's about playing to the song or playing parts. So, you learn to play parts,
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. Not when I was with John. But when I had to play,
absolutely not with Morell. Morell was just let's go to the Intergalactic,
Right.
Yeah.
So all of that was happening at the same time, and that's why later on in the early '90s, I was so worried about. I had this fear of music. Where are the young cats going to be able to go get what I got?
Right.
Where could they go to play? In 1972, I got a gig at the Playboy Club in the lounge.
Oh my God!
And they were just calling tunes, and it just so happened that the bass player just got off the road with Duke Ellington. Okay. And he decided to take me under his wing, So
I'm just going to be clear. I please don't tell me this cat's name is Jeffrey Castleman.
It is.
Oh, dude, he's been hiding from me forever. He's not going to hide anymore, dude. Dude, that dude was the nastiest bass player. Now he's pretending to be a drummer or something.
Well, I don't know.
I cannot believe you and Castleman were. This is so insane. Castleman took you under his wing?
I was playing my B3, but I was more like string parts or something. I had to learn how to play real soft B3 because we're in the lounge. Right?
Yeah, I did. You couldn't blow people out of the room.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I had to learn how to play real tasty, real back. There was a piano player. His name was Dick Caesar.
Oh, this is so legendary, dude.
And so I look at Jeff and I said, man, I don't know this tune. And he says, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to play real logical bass notes, okay, that go to the next chord. And you're going to have to learn what the chords are. I'm not going to tell you what the chords are. You're going to have to learn. And
Castleman, dude.
I said, so Jeff, I get to play Playboy Club and hang out with all the buddies.
Right.
And I get ear training and I get paid.
You kidding me, dude? That's the best deal in the world, man.
Yeah, he said, "Yep, that's it." So it was like I had like 8 months of like ear training.
I actually that to me is was there a trap drummer or was it just two?
No, it was a regular drummer. I forget his name.
Oh, come on, we got to get
really
this.
Great. He was from the South someplace. Man.
Oh my God, dude! I cannot believe Mathieson and Castleman were cooking the groove at the Playboy Club. All right, listen, let's put the marker in this. We just cooked for an hour. We got to do set 2. You want to do something later this week or something?
Sure, man.
All right, we'll do set. We got to pick this up. We'll pick it up after the Playboy Club.
Okay, cool, man. Thanks.
All right, great hang, dude. Talk to you soon.
Yeah, man, and say hello to everybody that's going to listen to this.
Yeah, dude. Krieger's going to be needing Kleenex for this. He's going to be so thrilled, man. And by the way, he says, tell Mathieson I love him.
Yeah, and I love him back.
All right. Yeah, be cool. We'll talk soon.
Okay, man.
All right, peace.
Peace.
Yeah.